Good morning, children. I'm Sharmila Miss here again. Okay, welcome to our next online class for the standard of 6 for the subject of science and for the session number 22. Okay, so now we are going to do the next lesson. So the next lesson is about the places where the animals and plants live or how they are adjusting to the present surrounding and living. Now, for example, okay, do all of us stay in the same place or do all of us have the same type of living environment or do we have the same type of food to eat or do we wear the same type of clothes? No, each one has got different types of habits. Okay, so we cultivate our habits according to our liking. But in the same thing, if you go to somebody else's houses, according to your liking, can you stay there? No. What we do is according to them, according to their households, we adjust ourselves. Okay? So in the same way, even the animals and the plants also, they adjust according to their surroundings. So that is what we are going to learn now. So our next lesson is the living organisms. Okay, so the main thing is about the animals and plants. Characteristics and habitats. So what are the characteristics which are needed for the animals and the plants to live in that certain place? Okay, and what is the meaning of habitat? So that only we are going to read now. So like how we are living in different places, in different areas we live, in different towns we live, in different cities we live. So in the same way, animals also live in different places. So some animals they live on the land, some animals they live on the trees, and some animals they live in water. Some animals live in the deserts and some animals live on the top of the mountains. So some examples of animals which lives in a desert. Okay, so from the smaller class you have learned. So the main animal which lives in the desert is the camel. So camel lives in the desert and on the mountains if you see you can see different varieties of goats living. You can see the wild animal that is the yak which lives on the mountains. And when you go to the beaches, you can see when there is no people nearby. You can see the crabs are coming out of the water on the sand. So when you go to the beaches, you can see the crabs near the beaches. And you know fishes very well. They live in the water of the seas and the oceans. So like how the animals live in different places, even the plants also live, they grow in different places. So according to their conditions, their weather conditions, the animals and the plants, how they adjust themselves in that particular environment. That only we are going to see next. Yes, children, you can see the examples here. See, animals, they live in the deserts, they live in the mountains, they live in the sea, they are found on the beaches. Okay, so example, camels, they are mostly found in the deserts. And then the goat and the yak, they are found on top of the mountains. And the crabs, you can see them near the beaches. And then the fishes, they live in the waters of the sea and the ocean. So in the same way, plants. Okay, plants also grow in different places or they grow in different regions. Now next we'll see what is the meaning of a habitat. Yes, children, now we'll see what is the meaning of a habitat. Okay, so here habitat. Habitat means the place where organisms live. Okay, so that is, it can be even the plants also, it can be even the animals also. So whichever place they are living, that is called as a habitat. So what is the other words which can be used for habitat? That is the dwelling place. Dwelling place means where they are staying and living. Or it is called as a home. So you know a home is a place where the animals, the people or the plants are living. So that is called as a habitat. And what does the habitat provide? So the habitat provides food, water, air, shelter, or other needs to organisms. Okay, so the habitat where the people, let it be the people, let it be the animals, or let it be the plants, wherever they are living, all this is being present over there. So there is food, there is water, there is air, there is shelter, or the other needs which they want. Okay, so that also is being there in the habitat. So over here, several kinds of plants and animals. Several means what? Many. Many kinds of plants and animals are living in the habitat, and some of them are living in the same type of habitat. Let it be the animals also, let it be the plants also. Okay. Now for example, the animals which are living in water. Okay, so you know the main animal which lives in water is the fish. So this animals which lives in the fish, what is surrounded by them? Only water. So what type of water is surrounded by them? The saline water. What is the meaning of saline? The water which contains salt. So then we call it as the saline water, or the water we say it is salinity. Salinity means it contains salt in the water. So the water in the sea or the oceans, they always contain salt. So that is why we call it as a saline water. Okay, now for example, I told you, there are animals which lives in the desert. So how these animals are adjusted to live in the desert? Okay, we normal people or the normal animal cannot live in the desert. You know, desert means it is very hot. There is no proper facilities in the desert. It is completely filled with sand. So it is very difficult to walk on the sand. You don't get water. There is no shelter anywhere. Okay, it's a big open space. So it's difficult for the normal people to live over there, or the normal animals to adjust and live over there. But how come only the camel is able to live? It is because the camel's body structure is made in such a way, okay, it can live in the desert. Mainly the camel has got thick skin. It has got thick skin, and inside the skin there are layers of fat which does not allow the heat to enter into the body of the camel. And then next, the camel is the only animal which can live for a longer time even without drinking water. But if it gets a chance to drink water, gallons and gallons of liters of water, it can drink at one time and store it in its body. So you have seen the camel. The camel is having a hump on the top. Okay, the camel's body is having a hump like this. So whenever it gets water, it drinks plenty of water at a time and it stores it in its hump. So whenever the camel's body feels that it requires water or it needs water, this hump will produce the water to the camel's body. So that is why the camel never feels thirsty for a longer time, and this makes the camel to stay in the desert for a longer period of time even without drinking water. And the next we have seen the camel. It has got long legs. The camel has got long legs. And when you see the foot of the camel, it is entirely different from the other animals. You might have seen the foot of an elephant, though the elephant is huge. You might have seen the foot of the elephant. You might have seen the paws of the lions and tigers. Okay, so their foot is entirely different. They have got soft flesh in their paws. Though the elephant is so big, even that one's foot also is soft at the bottom. But for the camel, it is not like that. You have seen the horse, you have seen the cows, you have seen the goat and the bullocks. Okay, have you seen the foot of them? Their foot is different. Okay, their foot it is called as the hoofs. Okay, the foot of the camel is called as the hoof, and this hoof is made of very hard substance. So even if the camel walks on the sand, the heat from the sand does not enter into the hoof. If it enters into the hoof only, it will reach the legs. But the heat does not enter the hoof at all. So the camel can live in the desert by walking for long distances without the heat entering into its body. So the two ways in which the camel can live is because of its thick skin, and next because of the hoofs which is there in its long legs. So the camels are adapted in such a way they can live in the desert. So that is why they call the camel as the ship of the desert. And the main plant which grows in the desert, you have seen the cactus. So the cactus is the common plant which grows in the desert. Like the other plants which has got branches, the cactus does not have branch. Okay, so in the later stage you will read how the cactus is being modified where it can store water. So the main plant which grows in the desert is the cactus, and the main animal which lives in the desert is the camel. So I have given you one example about an animal which lives in the desert and one plant which can grow in the desert. So now next we'll go on to the animals which lives in the water. Okay, in the previous class, okay, the previous lesson, you have studied what is the movement of the fish and how the fish is able to move in the water. So the fish has got the streamlined body. Okay, so as you have already read it, okay, so I'll just give you one small recap of it. Okay, the fish body, it is tapering towards the starting and the ending, that is the head and the tail, and in between it is broad where it has its fins and where it has its tail. So these are the main features of the fish which helps the fish to live in water. And then next, the main organ is its respiratory organ. The fish has got gills. Okay, so these gills can take the oxygen which is dissolved in the water. So there is oxygen even in the atmosphere, that is on the land, as well as in the water. But the fish can take the oxygen which is dissolved in water. That is why when you bring the fish out of water, it will die, because the gills are the respiratory organs for the animals which lives in water, and for the animals which lives on the land, they have got lungs as their respiratory organ. So the animals which live on the land cannot live in the water, and the animal which lives in the water cannot live on the land. So I have given you examples to show how the animals and plants live in different types of habitats. Okay, so now we go on to the next, that is the adaptations. Now we will see what is the meaning of adaptation. Okay, so what is the meaning of adaptation? The presence of specific features. Specific means what? A certain feature which is a must and which has got naturally for the animals or the plants, or certain habits. Habits means what? Which they are already used the way they are living, which enable an organism to live naturally in a place is called adaptation. Okay, so this is the meaning of adaptation. The presence of specific features or certain habits which enable an organism to live naturally in a place is called adaptation. So certain times we have been adjusted to the way in which we are living or the habits which we are having. So sometimes it becomes difficult for us to change certain habits or to change the style of living. So in whichever way we have been brought up or in whichever habits we have been used with it, So that naturally which occurs to us, those habits occurs to us naturally. So such type of habits and the conditions of living or the way of living, that only is called as adaptation. So over here we have got two types of habitats. One is the terrestrial habitat and one is the aquatic habitat. So terrestrial habitat means it is the habitats which are there on the land. Okay, so the animals or the plants which lives on the land, they are called as the terrestrial habitats. Okay, so it can be in the form of deserts, it can be in the form of forest, or it can be on the mountains, okay, or it can be in the deserts, mountains, land, trees, all these comes under terrestrial habitat. So, the terrestrial habitat means only the things which are there on the land. So, that is called as the terrestrial habitat. Okay, it includes even the grasslands, okay, it includes the fields, the places, all these comes under the terrestrial habitat. So, what is the meaning of aquatic habitat? Okay, so aquatic habitat means it is for the animals and plants which lives in water. So, we'll see a little in detail about the aquatic habitat. Now we are going to see what is the meaning of aquatic habitat. So as I told you, aquatic means it is the plants and animals which lives or dwells in water. Okay, so in what are the forms the water is present? It is present in the form of lakes, rivers, oceans, seas, etc. Okay, so all these are called as the water bodies. So in this only the plants and the animals, that is the aquatic habitats, are present. So in this you have got two types of components. One is called as the biotic component. Biotic component contains the living things, that is both the plants and animals. So both the plants and animals are living things, so they come under the group of biotic components. And then next is the abiotic components. Okay, abiotic components means it is the non-living things. Okay, so the non-living things can be in the form of rock, soil, water, air. Okay, so these are some of the non-living things which constitutes to the abiotic components. So, biotic components means it contains the living thing, that is both the plants and the animals, and abiotic components contains only the non-living things, that can be rock, soil, water and air. Okay, so now you have seen about the terrestrial habitat, you have seen about the aquatic habitat. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can come and clarify your doubts in school. If you have any doubts, and the assignments will be sent. If you have any doubts, you can come and clarify your doubts, and the assignments will be sent on the group. And in our next session, you will learn in detail about the terrestrial habitats. About each habitat, you will learn. Okay, so for now, this session is complete. Thank you, children.